There are two secrets in today's recipe, if I can call them secrets. I don't like the word secrets in recipe. I think that cooking should be accessible to everybody, but never mind. You know what I mean. Let's refer to secrets. One is the type of spices I'm going to be using, and the second one is marinating. I'm doing a roast using a pork leg joint. Here it is. I defrosted it last night, and this weighs just over 1.5 kilos, and it's still in the wrapping, so I'm going to be removing it. And I specifically chosen one which has got a nice coating of fat on top. I do not need the string, but very conveniently this has already been scored for me with the fat here. And the first job is to use a very sharp knife, and I'm going to continue and extend those cuts all the way, but not to the end, and I'm going to leave about 1.5 centimeter. So literally I'll just pick them up and carry on. If your meat is not scored, of course you can score it yourself. So sharp knife is very important, of course. And as a reference point, by the way, these are about 1.5 centimeter in thickness, so that gives you an idea should you need to score the meat yourself. So there I am, look, I've gone almost all the way, leaving approximately 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters from the bottom also. So let's work on secret number 1, the marinade. These are coriander seeds, and I'm going to use about 1 teaspoon, pestle and mortar, and before I add anything else, as they are still whole, I'll go along and just crush them up. And I'm not sure if you ever crushed coriander seeds before using a pestle and mortar, but the smell is really nice, especially because the wood from the pestle and mortar helps releasing such a beautiful flavor. And this is sea salt is very coarse, so I'm going to add it next. Again, I will add a good teaspoon equivalent. And I'll mix it once again, and of course the sea salt, being that it's very coarse, will also help breaking the coriander seeds a little bit further. We are not buying any garlic at the moment, as we are using what Julie very proudly has actually grown this year, the very first time ever in our garden. So I've got 3 little cloves. I'll show you the size in a moment when I finish with this one. Here they are, look. Well, this is medium and this are little, so I add them in and I'll mix once again. Pepper next, and this is ground pepper, so I do not need to mix it anymore with this. But if you use peppercorns, by all means you can carry on. Paprika, this is smoked paprika. You can use normal paprika, meaning not smoked paprika, or no paprika at all, but I would use paprika of any kind if you've got access, because it will make a big difference. Lemon is something which is widely used, where are you going, in Sicily, especially with pork recipes and chicken. So this is half a lemon, and I'm going to squeeze it in just like this. Obviously you can squeeze it the old traditional way, but I've got one of those and it's perfectly okay. And lastly, some olive oil to help bond everything together. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of it, just like this. Enough to make my marinade and blend it together. And I'll mix it with a teaspoon, and I'll go and get the meat next. So here it is. Let's bring you back. Oops, making a mess. I'll start with the bottom side first, so that I'm done and dusted. I'll put 1 big teaspoon of my marinade, and I'll cover the entire bottom surface with my hands, and then I'll turn it around, and I'm going along now and picking up 1 teaspoon, and I will place on each cut like this, and 1 teaspoon will service both sides of my meat. I'll keep this for the outside. Then I'll go in with my hands and just marinate it like this, and like this, and I'll go all the way both sides. And here I am. I've got now the remainder of my marinade. I'll get my hand inside so that I don't waste any, and I'll put some on this side and I'll turn it around. 1 last cuddle including the top, and this is ready, and I'll go wash my hands and I'll show you what to do next. Here we go. I've got a largish piece of baking paper. Ensure that it's big enough to cover the entire surface of the meat, as it will be wrapped around it. meat comes back, and I'll place it on top of my baking paper just like this, and any of the remaining marinade can go on top, of course. And I had to go and wash my hands once again. So I'll wrap it up. So I'm going to lift the sides like this first, and then I will fold one end just like this. Perfect. And I'll do the same on the other side. Maybe if you were wrapping a loaf of bread, I suppose. And this is tin foil or kitchen foil. I'm laughing because Jim, hi Jim, one of my very loyal subscribers, he laughed at me because I used the word tin foil in one of my videos the other day, showing my age, but you know what I mean. So here is my tin foil, and I'll place my meat on top of it, and I'll wrap it around like this. I'll go all the way until I reach the end, just like this. And I'll get another piece, and I'll do the same on the other side. Effectively, I want to make sure that all of the juices will be locked in, and there is no reason why anything should escape. So a little bit of tin foil, or kitchen foil, but that's fine. The recipe is worth it. And this is perfect, and it is ready to go to bed for a little while. So I'll go and get my cast iron pot. You can also use an oven tray if you like. The reason why I'm choosing this today is because I will be cooking it in the oven inside this pot, and eventually the meat will come out, and I'll make some gravy or juices, and so I will use only the one pot. But if you do not have one of those, you've got a normal conventional tray, use that, and then you can use a normal saucepan to make the sauce later. So I'll put the lid on, and this will go straight in the fridge for a few hours. Minimum, I would say maybe 3 hours. If you're able to make it the night before, even better. But in my case, we are about to go out, Julie and I. We're going to have our eye tested to the optician, and then we'll do some food shopping. So we'll be back later this afternoon. So it will be resting in the fridge for about 4 or 5 hours before I put it in the oven. But I'll see you later this afternoon, and then I'll show you what to do next. Ciao, ciao for now. And of course, the waiting is secret number 2. Leaving it in the fridge for 3 to 5 hours. We are just back from the supermarket. My eyes are fine. Actually, they only just slightly deteriorated. I use a pair of glasses for video work mostly, and they say to me, yeah, your eyes are okay, a little deterioration, but if you like, there are some great offers where you can upgrade your glasses. Don't you hate it that they're always trying to flog you something? Almost to the point that you don't trust it. My meat is out of the fridge, and Julie just looked at me and she said, are you cooking Chinese?
It's got that sort of sweet, sort of Chinesey.
That was like one of those in the heart.
Sorry about that.
Nothing wrong with Chinese food,
No,
but this is absolutely nothing to do with Chinese. So one thing I meant to say earlier when I was wrapping my meat, ensure that the top of the meat, where I cut it from, ends up on the top here, and I will show you that in a little while. So I'm removing the lid, and I'll place it in the oven for 45 minutes initially, temperature 200 degrees, fan assisted. If you've got a normal conventional oven, up it by 20 degrees. So I'll place it in as it is, nothing else, and I'll see you in 45 minutes. So 45 minutes are nearly up, and I'll show you what I do next. So a couple of sprigs of rosemary, which I just picked from the garden, and these are 3 new cloves of garlic. Yes, there's quite a bit of garlic in this recipe. The first thing I'll do, I've chopped the rosemary, but then I'll crush the garlic with my knife. I'll mix it with the rosemary together, and I'll go back and I'll now crush it using my knife alongside the rosemary. And here is my meat straight out of the oven. So why is it important that you remember that the side is up where you sliced it from? Because I'm going to go in with my knife, and I'm going to score my tin foil and my baking paper first, and I'll make an incision just like this, and I'll do the same all the way around. And having scored it throughout, my baking paper and my tin foil should just come off fairly easy now. You can see that. And with the help of a fork, I'm now making a gap between my baking paper and my meat. So Next job is to get hold of my diced rosemary and garlic together, and I'll sprinkle it on top just like this. And I'm gonna use my fork to open my meat and making sure that I go inside each cut just like this. Perfect, look at this, it's wonderful. The smell coming up already because the meat is hot is incredible. The garlic and the rosemary combined are magic. Glass of dry white wine. Ensure that you do not pour it on top of your meat, just on the side like this, and one side is enough as it will find its way all over. I just melted a generous knob of butter in the microwave, and I'm going to pour it all over my meat like this. Still without the lid on. I will lower the temperature to 180 this time for a further 45 minutes. If you've got, you know what is coming, a conventional oven, just lower to from 220 to 200. And I'll put this here because I want to show you also my potatoes, which they're here. I made a very similar marinade to what I've just done now. Effectively, I've got there some rosemary, some crushed garlic, but also some paprika. And I have partly boiled my potato, which I've sliced them in about 1 centimeter, and 15 minutes. Make sure that you do not cook them all the way. And then once I've drained them, while they were still really piping hot, I added my marinade, and then I put also some olive oil, mixed it all together, salt and pepper, and here they are. So they will be going in the oven for 45 minutes, and they will be cooking at the same time as the meat. So I'll see you in about 45 minutes. Time to get serious, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to serve this up. We got my son and his fiance for dinner tonight, so I'm cooking for 4 people. So here are my potatoes, and look, they are still sizzling and they look absolutely beautiful. This is an oval plate and it will go in the middle of the table, so presentation this is going to look really stunning. So I'm arranging my potatoes on top of one another, slightly overlapped like this. And my joint has been out of the oven for 5 minutes. I'm using this saucepan to thicken up the sauce. So I'm trying to lift it without burning myself here. And I'm going to be placing this in the middle of my plate over here, just like this, in the center. I got a little juice left over, so I'm going to be pouring this with my sauce over here. And there I go once again. Here is my sauce. To thicken it up, by the way, I just added a couple of teaspoons of corn flour to some cold water, and then put it here inside my saucepan and bring it to the boil, and thicken it up immediately. I've got here a little serving jug. I'm sure that I've got a proper name, and maybe it's a boat, and I'll put some in there, and then that'll go in the middle of the table should people want more of the sauce. I'm going to show you also what I've made to go with them. You can have bread, or we love Yorkshire puddings. So here are my Yorkshire puddings. These are normal British Yorkshire puddings, and they're beautiful. Look how big they are. So we will have that with it, and also I've got some vegetables which I prepared earlier. So just some broccoli, carrots and beans, and some of these are from our garden, I think the beans and the carrots. So it's a bit of a roast stroke Italian influence, and it is absolutely beautiful. So if you make it, let me know, and let me know what you think. Arrivederci, grazie, and as always, buon appetito. Thank you for watching.